HMRC's deadline for the serial tax avoidance regime has passed. Those that have disclosed schemes that they've implemented and they disclosed prior to the 6th of April are excluded from the regime. Those that haven't disclosed are now included in the regime, and this has several implications. They can be subject to sanctions, fines, as well as naming and shaming. Now, the sanctions they could be subject to are a warning notice requiring them to provide information over the next 5 years. The fines range from between 20 and 60%, and obviously HMRC are now taking great delight in naming and shaming people. However, we should take a moment to consider those that did report the schemes that they have implemented prior to the 6th of April. What's going to happen to them? And this is interesting because it's been a way that HMRC have gathered information on people that potentially have used several tax avoidance schemes. Now, if you were HMRC in possession of that information, one would anticipate that if you're not being investigated yet, then you shortly will do. Which means there's an emphasis on those individuals to actually understand what risk is involved with the schemes they've implemented. And when I say understand what risk, not necessarily going to the person that they acquired the scheme from or has been advising them over a period of time, but getting some independent advice to establish whether there is a likelihood that they are going to be caught for additional taxes, higher penalties, and what other sanctions could apply. For example, we do now have, whilst it hasn't been given a statutory instrument, hasn't given its effect, we do have an offshore criminal offence coming in, and that may apply to certain schemes that have been implemented with an offshore element. So our advice to people that have submitted information to exclude themselves from the regime is seek advice now, check your risk, and take action in order to mitigate that. Those that haven't excluded themselves from the regime, then they need to consider what implications could be they could be receiving in the future in the forms of sanctions and fines, and obviously naming and shaming.